Hello and welcome to another episode of Geek-Men and the Masters of the ThunderNerds. I'm Dustin.
I'm sick.
and
I'm also Bo.
And this is the podcast that talks about all the things you love.
Without all the hate.
That's right. And today, both Bo and I are under the weather, if you could not tell by the sound of our nasally hacking cough and sneezy whatevers. As this episode goes on, hopefully we'll have that, nailed down. But just bear with us. We're going to be talking about Silent Hill. This is a special episode. We're going to be talking about Silent Hill this episode with Shawn Lachance. I probably butchered that. Welcome him from Horror Writers. And we're going to be talking about that as well. So, welcome, Shawn.
Thanks for having me. I've been listening since you guys put this out, and I absolutely love what you're doing for the community because it can get a little negative sometimes. So it's really nice to see people focusing on the positive aspects of things that are out there and just trying to push that forward. Like, I'm a huge fan of what you guys are doing.
Well, thank you. And you, good personal friend of ours. You've, especially me. I mean, she's you're like my first friend in the community, so.
Yeah, I was going to say, likewise, we're fans of what you've been doing at Horror Writers and with
Absolutely.
all of that's been going on.
Thanks.
So, I guess just to sort of get started here, you're from Canada, our neighbors up north. And it's
capital of Ottawa.
Yeah, our cold neighbors up north. And so, I guess just tell us a little bit about how that got started, how Horror Canada and Horror Writers got started.
All right. So Horror Writers started as a class project, actually. I was working retail jobs a few years ago. It was like 2012-ish. I was working retail. This was my late 20s, and I was like, I've had enough of this. I want to go back to school and do something. So I went back to school for web development and database management. And then a few months in, one of our projects was build a 5-page website, like a functional 5-page website using just HTML, just code it. And that's when I came up with the idea. One of my classmates actually designed the original logo. And then I they came up with the name for it. And we were a .NET website back then because it was cheaper to buy the URL than it was to get a .com.
Right.
Much, much, much cheaper. So we were .NET back then, because I was still a student. And so I started this 5-page website. And then as I was building the website and connecting things together, I was like, I should actually make this a thing. I should do this. This is fun. This is what I want to do. So I bought the URL, I bought the web hosting, and then I hooked it all up. And for the first, I'd say 5 months of the website, I was coding everything by hand. So every new page that went up was a fresh code. And then I had to go back in and create the links from all the other pages and then make sure everything kind of got together. And as I was adding more and more things, because I wanted to start adding short stories, and I added 2 manually coding. And now the thing about that was I was manually coding the formatting too. So I was coding the paragraphs, I was coding the non-breaking spaces, I was coding the italics, and just when you're working off of one monitor, I was doing this on my laptop, and you're working off one monitor, and trying to go back and forth, it gets really frustrating.
Right.
So I was like, screw it, I'll upgrade to a free WordPress installation. So I moved it over to there, and that's how everything kind of fell into place. It had a much nicer, sleeker look. I was able to do more with it. I was able to start the Twitter account because I didn't have as much time spent coding, and I could actually start talking to people about the website, and very slowly built a little bit of a community through it. And over the last 5-6 years, it just kind of took off. And it's been something that I've been really proud of. And we've had some tremendously talented people come and work. Well, not work, because none of us are getting paid, let's be real. Come and help out and write for the website. And we had Renfield Rasputin. He was with our team for a while. Lisa Fremont, she was with our team for a while. Dusty Evely was like, if you guys want football knowledge, go to Dusty Evely. This dude is an encyclopedia. He's just a genius. And
one of the best gift makers I've ever seen.
Oh, his gifts are incredible. The way, so Dusty will watch a game and then break it down and then create GIFs of the game pretty much as it's going on. And then like 4 seconds after this big play, Dusty's got this GIF and he's telling you all this stuff about the play. It's crazy. Dude should be actually employed by the National Football League, and it's criminal that he isn't.
Yeah, I follow him on Twitter and I've seen his stuff. It's just like, oh, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Like, I've watched a lot of football my whole life, and I've never understood it as well as I do now, and that's because of Dusty. Like, when I'm watching games, I can pick things out. And anyways, Dusty's been a long-time member of the Horror Writers family, and now that we're back in operational and running, he always has an open invitation to just come and do whatever the hell he wants. Like, no, I don't even need to look at it. Just, Dusty, do your thing, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, when was it that you and Bo sort of met? You was that with the first anthology that you did?
It was actually a long time before that. I got an email from a Mr. Chappell one day saying, "Hey, I have this Kickstarter coming out for my book. Can you help me with it somehow?" So I'm like, "Yeah, okay, man, whatever." So I created a post about it, and then I tweeted about it a bit. And there was if you go on the website and look up his name, you see from 2014, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
something like that, because he was like the only person. Can I tell you, he was like the only person that responded this way too. I sent out a ton of emails to places, and he was only like, "Yeah, sure."
Nice. Yeah, I saw that Kickstarter
It says a lot about that website. And Shawn. I mean,
yeah. So I did that. Like, I put the post up for him. I tweeted it out. Stayed in contact with him for a bit, and then Bo kind of disappeared into the ether, and then kind of plowed forward. And I got an email 3 years later, like, "Hey, I don't know if you remember me, but you helped me out with my Kickstarter video. My book's done. It's out. I was wondering, can you review it?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I remember you. I remember doing this." Like, "Yeah, I'll take it." So then I read it, and then I started talking to Bo more and more and more, and we just ended up becoming really good friends, and that's kind of how that worked.
Nice.
yeah, I haven't regretted it. It's funny how that worked out. So, working with Shawn, talking with Shawn and becoming Shawn's friend, it was inevitable that I would learn that Shawn is obsessed with a certain game franchise.
Beyond.
He's like a super, the stuff he can just pull, the information he can pull is, I don't know. I've had conversations with him where he just casually mentions something. I'm like, how do you even remember that?
What franchise is that?
We're talking about Silent Hill.
Silent Hill. He's a huge Silent Hill fan, and it's one of those things. Like, right now, it couldn't be in more of a negative spot.
Yeah,
but that's
now a negative spot because of the community, or a negative spot because of the creators, or
the creators.
Both.
I'll let Shawn lay down where does the franchise sit right now?
All right, so as it exists right now, the Silent Hill franchise is dead. Konami's ventured off into doing pachinko machines and mobile games, and they're not really sinking money into actual game development anymore. The last one they did was Metal Gear Survive, and they basically reused a lot of assets for that.
Yeah.
As it stands right now, Konami making console games is a thing of the past. So there won't be any more Silent Hills, there won't be any more Suikodens, which makes me really sad. But unfortunately, that's where Silent Hill sits at the moment. No more games.
It's kind of interesting to me that, when I remembered Silent Hill, I sort of remember Silent Hill and Resident Evil sort of being there sort of at the same time in my memory. I don't know which one came first or which one came second. It was probably Resident Evil, maybe? I'm not sure. Whatever the case may be. I just sort of always remember them being there, right?
Yeah. Resident Evil was the first one. It was out on the PlayStation and the Sega Saturn, have you guys done anything on the Sega Saturn yet?
No, it would be neat.
I play sports games. We've talked. I'm Canadian. I always play the hockey games. I haven't bought the new one in years, but up until 2013, every year I got that NHL game, and the best one I ever played was on the Sega Saturn.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, Resident Evil was on the Sega Saturn. first. It was like 96. And then Resident Evil 2 came out in around 98, 99. I'm going to say 99. And Silent Hill, the first one, came out in, was it 97, 98? No. I want to say 97. I should know this.
Something like that. Because they came out, they did the whole Final Fantasy thing. They came out backwards here in that order, right?
Okay, so Final Fantasy VII came out in 97. So the first game came out in 99 because the team that translated the script for Final Fantasy VII were the ones that translated the script for the Silent Hill game. So they're like it was the same people that put the game into English.
That's interesting.
Full of fun facts.
Yeah.
No, I just mean that it's kind of interesting because they always sort of exist, but now Silent Hill isn't around, but Resident Evil just keeps chugging along. Now they just announced that they're going to be doing a Netflix TV series over Resident Evil. That's after like 1.5 billion movies and video games and remakes. And it's just like Silent Hill had maybe one movie, two. I don't remember really one movie, but
it had two. I even like that Silent Hill movie. I like that Silent Hill movie so much, Revelations. I have the Japanese novelization of that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Because
I'll take pictures of it and I'll share some pictures with you guys.
Because you speak multiple millions of languages too, right?
Little Japanese, little Korean, little French, little Gaelic, little Mandarin. Well, I'm pretty much, I wouldn't say I'm quite bilingual in French, but if I'm speaking to someone in French and they're talking to me in French, I can understand, but my ability to speak it back isn't the greatest. I use the direct translate method, which doesn't always go over well. I'll just turn what I'm trying to say in English, and then I'll find the French equivalent word for that, and not worry about conjugating, and then I'll just repeat that, and then they look at me like, "What are you? Okay, you know what? You're trying."
You're trying. It's just I don't know, romper to break. Okay. Oh, something broke. Okay, I get it.
My hovercraft is full of eels.
but yeah, I mean, it's just interesting that it had potential. There's potential there, right?
Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah. I mean, I think the big fallout was with PT, which was going to be released. That was secretly a Silent Hills demo that Hideo Kojima and Guillermo del Toro were working on.
Yep, with Junji Ito too. I think he was going to be working on some monster design.
Yeah, and that demo is amazing and rare now because they took it down. But people loved it. They were, we're all in. Let's have this. But they, Konami had a falling out with Kojima, and they essentially fired him.
Yeah, they pretty much erased him from their official records.
Yeah, I mean, that was some bad stuff. I mean, I'm sure you can go look it up. It'd be a shame just to go over in this podcast. But he's things are looking up for him now. He's got Death Stranding coming out.
Yeah, he's doing okay.
Yeah, but people were really psyched about that, and to that, I think is probably what hurts the most for Silent Hill fans.
Yeah,
just because they were going to get a brand new game.
And the thing that I think kills people the most too is, like Dustin mentioned, Resident Evil and Silent Hill, they were always kind of there together. So Silent Hill comes out, Resident Evil 2 comes out, Silent Hill 2 comes out, then Resident Evil 4 comes. They've always been releasing games around the same time, the Code Veronicas, the Silent Hills. It was kind of like a competition. Does Capcom make the better survival horror game, or does Konami make the better survival horror game? And then Capcom kept kind of reinventing the way they did the Resident Evil games. 4 is so completely different from everything that came out in that series before it. And they changed it a bit with 5, they changed it a bit with 6. And then Konami releases PT, the playable teaser. And it's this first-person nightmarescape. It's insane. And we haven't really seen anything like this before, this level of horror in a Silent Hill game. And people were stoked. But then, they had the rug pulled out from underneath them, and, this is canceled, it's never coming out, we're deleting it from the server, you can't even re-download it if you deleted it, that kind of stuff. And then, Resident Evil 7 releases their playable teaser, and it's a first-person horror game where you're walking in hallways. It's just
they totally took their totally took the cue from it, and it paid off for them.
It did.
Is that 7? What was it called? Did they
Resident
call it
Evil 7.
Biohazard?
Yeah, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard.
Yeah, that game was a tremendous success. And then, of course, they're following it up with what is, I'm sure, is going to be a hit, that remake of Resident Evil 2.
Yeah. The Resident Evil 1 remake was excellent. The Resident Evil 2 remake, I just played the demo of it. It's excellent. Like, I may have to get this eventually when it's not $70. But,
yeah, I got the demo was pretty fun.
Yeah. But, like, it was kind of like, I don't say a dark time, because that's really melodramatic, but, like, seeing the success of Resident Evil 7 was kind of like a dark time, I'm saying it, for Silent Hill fans, because everything that we were hoping for and wanting went to, like, the competing series, right? It's like, if the Mets best player went and signed for the Yankees and won the World Series and got MVP, and everyone's like, yes, I had to work a baseball reference in here, Bo. And
he's also a huge baseball fan.
LeBron James leaving Cleveland.
I'm gonna claim this right now. I don't believe this whole jock versus nerd thing. If you're a jock, you're a nerd. That's just you being a nerd about sports.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. I grew up that way. I grew up reading comic books and fantasy novels and playing ball hockey, playing baseball. Like, it's just different things. Especially like baseball.
Well, fantasy sports, fantasy football is just D&D for sports geek.
Yeah. Exactly.
Remembering stats and numbers.
Yeah.
You're like, come on. You're just a nerd.
Exactly. Your bestiary is the stat report. That's it. You're like, oh, this monster.
Your die roll is
like
an actual person
advantage.
running down the field.
Exactly. And you have no control over it the way you can't control your dice. Sometimes you roll a natural 20 and you win the week, and sometimes your
coach sits the player.
Yeah. I played fantasy this year with my coworkers. 13-week fantasy league. I was 0-12 until the last week, and then I won one game.
Nice.
And just getting that one win meant everything to me.
Yeah, I forget how many weeks we played. I was second place, and that was because my quarterback got sat the last week because it wasn't necessary for him to play.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we don't need him to play. We'll play our second string quarterback. It's just like, are you kidding me? And of course, I was in the hospital with kidney stones, so I didn't see the alert that he was being sat, and I couldn't put my second string or my backup quarterback on the. I digress. So that cost me.
That's heartbreaking, man. That's heartbreaking.
It was because it was a close game.
Yeah,
I'm still.
Oh man, see, like even it's the worst when you know you should have made a change and like. Because you don't get the alert, you're doing something, you miss, like, hey, this player's being sacked this game, and then you lose by, like, 4 points, and what you had on your bench could have got you, like, 5 points. You're like,
Yep.
I hate the world.
Which I have to say also, as a geek, I wasn't all that into sports or fantasy football, like watching sports, but playing fantasy football or fantasy whatever made games more interesting, because it's like, oh, I want that person to do good. Oh, I want this person to do good. And I got more into it after watching The League.
That was such a fun show. That was so good.
Because that show is hilarious.
Yeah. I can't believe they made a show about a fantasy league, and it worked.
It worked so well.
Worked.
It was so funny. Like, and it's just great. It's fun, even if you're not a sports fan. And then after watching them play, it's like, I kind of want to do that. I kind of want to play fantasy football.
Did I ever tell you that me and Liam were, like, online? He was showing me DBZ, like one of those, the online thing. And we came across somebody named Chalupa Batman.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
And we just lost.
Oh,
man. It's like instant, like, he earns all the credit.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like
watched that
Batman
guy's
138 or XX is around his name or anything. He like managed to get Chalupa Batman.
That's amazing.
Wow. I actually watched that guy's videos long before I ever saw The League. I forget his name now, whatever his real name is, but Tacos. I actually watched his other music videos and stuff that he did before I saw the show, so I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the guy! So it was just multiple. Plus Nick Kroll's on there, and he does a bunch of other funny stuff now, like that one Netflix show that I'm slipping my mind right now.
Oh, the one about puberty?
Yeah.
Big Mouth.
Big Mouth. Yeah, that show's funny, but wildly inappropriate.
Yeah.
I love Rafi too.
Rafi is probably the best character to come out of that show. They should have done, and this is wildly off topic, but they should have done a Rafi and anyone spinoff. Rafi should have got his own show, first of all, but they should have done a Rafi and Dirty Randy spinoff.
Yeah. Did any of you guys watch the Harmon Quest?
I actually have watched some of the first season.
He was
about
on
halfway through.
He was on the second season. Yeah, that episode is gold.
Rafi was?
Yeah.
Oh, I need to watch that.
Him playing D&D. It's it's I don't want to spoil anything of it. If you can manage to get that episode, it's so good.
I want to watch it now.
Yeah. Anyway, Silent Hill.
Silent Hill.
Yeah, Silent Hill. Good game. Good game.
It's good stuff.
You know what's weird though? I think it's what's probably it's weird because survival horror is probably like super huge.
Yeah,
it's super huge right now. There's so many good like indie survival, like even like 8-bit, 16-bit, like people are just doing survival horror everywhere.
Yeah,
and even the high, like I told you, I played Observer.
I have that on Steam. I need to get in. I need to play that finally.
I just played it because I thought it was like a point and click cyberpunk game, and I got fooled. It was like 2 hours in. I was like, "Oh, this is a survival horror." You guys tricked me. It's very good though, but it's a genre that's grown so big, and it's so weird that Silent Hill's not there anymore. And
yeah, like it makes me sad. Akira Yamaoka, he had the best music, and then when he brought Mary Elizabeth McGlynn in to sing the songs, like those songs could win awards if they were released individually as just albums.
Isn't it crazy too? How he was like he didn't have any music background.
Yeah,
he was just like one of the guys in the room. Like, I mean, these are guys. How many people were on that original team?
It was really small.
It was like a small group of people, and they didn't have anybody do music, and they just like you do it. He's like, he has no music background whatsoever, and he has like some of the best music, just period.
Yeah. Yeah, he studied product design and interior design. Like he was originally going to be a designer. Like he did some Sega CD scores, but back in the early '90s. But the Silent Hill was like the thing. He thought he'd be the only person that could do it, which was really cool, and he did. Like he knocked it out of the park. Those soundtracks, like I listen to them when I'm at work. Like I'll put them on my Spotify. Who should pay me for saying that? I put them on my Spotify playlist, and I do that. Spotify family plan, good deal. Pay these guys. Yeah, Silent Hill music. That got weird.
We're actually on Spotify.
I know.
Our podcast is, which is cool.
There's a nice plug. Good job.
That's where I listen to you guys, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like
Spotify right now, it's probably surreal right now.
Oh man, when this comes out and I listen to it, I'm gonna be so excited. You're like, oh my god, they're mentioning the thing I'm listening on. Yes.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Just get
it was
scared
pretty fun.
Like, and throw it off your head.
A little antenna. If only.
I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off, Dustin. What were you saying?
I don't remember.
I
was gonna say.
Start up on Silent Hill.
I was gonna say that Silent Hill is fun, even though I've never played it. Did you know that?
Silent Hill 2. You've never played the Silent Hill games?
I've never.
Do you have a 360?
I do. Yep.
You can get Silent Hill 2 and 3 remastered. I think it's like $20. I recommend it.
I also haven't played a video game in a while. I'm horrible at playing video games. It's just if there's something that if I have time to play a video game, I should be doing something.
Oh, I totally feel that. Yeah. And plus, like, you have children, and
Yeah.
I don't, and I feel that way, so I can't even imagine what it's like with young children.
Yeah.
Do you have a PS4?
I do.
Maybe we could arrange it one day where we could do share play on PT, because I still have PT on my thing.
Do you really?
Yes.
Damn, son.
Yeah, I wasn't stupid. Did I ever tell you that I tried to sell that, and I had it sold twice, and they shut me down?
That's amazing.
I
They
did.
started cracking down on that. And people were making like $700, $800 for their
Yeah,
PlayStations that had PT when Konami pulled it off.
I
Because
remember
people
you telling me
wanted to
about
play
that.
this game.
Yeah.
That's such a crazy submarket to me. Like, you guys remember the game Flappy Bird?
Yeah.
Oh,
Phones
yeah,
with Flappy Bird were going for like $1,000, and then like 6 months later, he's like, "Hey, we're back. Here's Flappy Bird again." It's like, oh, you.
Yeah. Plus, not to mention, there were so many other games that were coming out that were exactly like Flappy Bird. It's like, why would you do that?
Like, for PT,
plus
just go watch a YouTube video. Like, that's there are good ones where people will just play it and shut up while they're playing. That's what I want. Like, look, I'm sorry, I'm gonna need to tell people how to do their run their lives. But if you're gonna be playing a horror game and you're gonna be streaming it, don't talk during it. Just let us enjoy it.
Yeah, it takes the suspense out of it.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, people are watching you for your personality, then that's like a reverse thing.
Yeah.
Like if you're a Twitch streamer, I totally get it. But if you're just gonna like YouTube stream it, just shut up and play the game. You know? Let me just enjoy this while I'm at work, not doing what I'm paid to be doing. Like, just let me enjoy this.
I wish we had saved. Me and Liam used to have a Let's Play. We were playing PT, but we didn't save it.
Ah.
And we were trying to. You know, the ending's very convoluted about how to beat the game.
It's so weird. So weird.
Because you have to use your mic, which is funny.
Yeah.
But we went
Actually, that was
back
never
later.
confirmed. Some people it would trigger, some people it wouldn't. There were really weird triggers for it.
But me and Liam went back and we tried to sing Your Love Keeps Lifting Me Higher to see if it would
That's
work.
awesome. That's awesome.
We tried to pull a Ghostbusters 2 reference.
It's the scariest game
work.
ever, and you guys.
It totally killed us.
Yeah, I would too, honestly.
Oh, that's awesome.
So do you think Konami will ever come to their senses,
No.
so to speak? You don't.
No. They're making way too much money off pachinko machines and mobile games to ever consider going back to AAA development. It's a time sink. It's a money sink. You have people pissed off at you no matter what you do. And this way they can just like silently release things into the world and just like rake in the cash. I think they found their business model. And I think this is the next evolution in a lot of gaming companies. You get the tried and trues like Capcom, Bungie, 343, that kind of thing. They'll always do the console thing. Sony too. They'll always do the console thing. But I think you're going to start seeing more studios move away from it and get purely into mobile development. Like the sequel to Alien Isolation was a mobile game.
What was it
Oh,
that
yeah, I'd
happened
heard about
recently? There was something that happened recently with a mobile thing. Some company, I think it was maybe Blizzard, they tried to unveil the new mobile game to a bunch of hardcore PC gamers.
Yeah,
and
new Diablo.
purists. Yeah, the new Diablo, and the dude's just like, "You have a phone, don't you?"
Yeah.
Something. And it's just like they're just like, "Yeah, but I wouldn't want to play it on a phone. I want to play these games on my computer."
It on stage too.
And the thing is, they even said, we're still working on a PC version of a game.
Right.
We just want to do this too. This is just something else. This does not... If you don't want to play it, fine. It doesn't affect your life in any way. And they're getting like death threats over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm shocked. Like, I don't know. For me, Konami was huge growing up as far as...
Yeah.
It's like, oh, the new Konami game, I'm going to get it.
I would buy things just because... Or renting. Yeah. Castlevania, Suikoden, Metal Gear Solid... of course, Silent Hill. I think they also did a game called Azure Dreams, which I really, really, really liked. I think that was a Konami game. It was basically this, like dungeon crawler, and you had to like capture monsters, and your level reset every time you leave the dungeon, but your monsters stayed the same level. Look it up. It was fun. I'm pretty sure it was a Konami game.
That does sound very familiar.
It was fun. But yeah, like they were the go-to company, and then they would throw like little cool Easter eggs and references to their other games into things. Like Silent Hill 2. The first time I played that, it changed me as a human being. Like I'm not even like that's not even hyperbole. Like it changed the way that I think about narrative and structure and stories. It changed the way I think about twists. It changed the way I think about characterization and like taking like fundamentally flawed and broken things in people and like dealing with that. And for I'd say about 10, 15, I'm still doing it. Basically, every first draft of every story I write is just Silent Hill 2 in a different setting. And I can never get away from this because my influences and the things that I take from it are so heavily ingrained into me that I can't get away from it. So I always have to write that like first, whatever, Silent Hill 2 is this, and then go back in and edit the shit out of it and like take out all the Silent Hill references and then make it its own thing. But that's, yeah. I've had to stop writing a bunch of stories because... Oh, no, sorry. This is just Silent Hill 2. Good job, Sean.
Well, that's what's so scary about Silent Hill. To me, it's like, out of all those survival horror universes, that's the last one I would want to go into.
Yeah.
Because it's like existential, internal, like, personification of all these demons inside of you, these things you hide away, your ids, your...
Yeah. Everything
all these horrible things you don't want. Yeah. Horrible skin demon thing, and you're like, here it is.
Yeah.
Here's a stick.
Yeah. Like, I'm still picking up themes. Like, I've played Silent Hill 2. I've read the novelization. I've spent hours of my life researching what the different monsters and everything mean, and every time I play it, I'm still picking up new things. Like, I'll notice things in different places that I never noticed, I never saw before, and it's just like, oh wow, that's clever. Like, I don't know, it's just like the symbolism in those games is off the charts. And even though the voice acting in the original Silent Hill 2 wasn't the greatest, the script, the story, the atmosphere, everything was like a gut punch when it came together. Okay, look, this is a 20-year-old game now almost, so this isn't a spoiler. But there's a hallway scene at the end of the game where your wife is talking to you. Like, your wife was sick and she died. That's beginning of the game. That's right there, out there.
Yeah.
There's this hallway scene where your dead wife is talking to you. And it's a scene where she's in the hospital. Like, you're just walking down this long hallway and you just hear this audio where she's in the hospital and she's sick. And she just loses her mind and snaps at you and like tells you to run away and leave and just go away and all that stuff. And then she just cries. And you like, there's just like this fragile, broken moment between the two characters. I still get teary-eyed when I play that. Like, the first time I played it, I had to set down the controller because I was crying. And this is a horror game. And I've never experienced anything like that before.
Yeah.
And that's what Silent Hill did to people. Like, it brought you in, it made you afraid, it made you laugh, it made you cry, it made you feel things, it made you think. These were next-level games, the way they were written.
No, there's a similar scene, another spoiler alert, I guess, for that first one. It was, what is her name, Rebecca?
Yeah.
The nurse?
Oh, Rachel?
Rachel the nurse? The crying, the blood crying scene?
Oh my god, why can't I remember her name?
Who is it? What is the name of that nurse? But that's like a really tragic scene.
Lisa Garland.
Lisa, thank you. Okay. She had that kind of self-realization that she's not alive and that, you know, this whole tragedy that's befallen her and everything, and she's kind of like reaching out to Harry to help, you know, for help, and he can't do anything.
Yeah.
It's like this weird blood trickling down her face, and you're like, this is horrible.
Yeah. And the games are full of moments like that. Like in Downpour, there's a moment where you become the monster. Like, it's this thing, depending on how you play the game. Like, you become the boogeyman.
Oh,
to
yeah.
this other character, like to the main cop character. Like, you become her boogeyman and you transform into it and you're chasing her down. And it's like the way that she yells at you and the things that she says. Like, they're just really, really good moments. And Downpour, unfortunately, gets no love. And I think the main reason for that is because the theme song had Jonathan Davis of Korn singing it, and people couldn't get past that, which is stupid because A, it's a really good song, B, it plays once in the entire friggin' game. Like, people let things like that affect their opinion of the game. So
Right.
it got a lot of right away just because it was like they had Jonathan Davis of Korn involved. They're like, oh, Korn, that's cheesy. Like we've officially decided this game is not good. So when that song came out, that was probably the worst thing that could have happened for Silent Hill Downpour, and a lot of people wrote it off just because of that. But honestly, the controls were fluid, the voice acting was excellent, the story was great. They played with the Otherworld theme really well, like by having it rain, and then once it starts to rain, that's how you know you're about to switch over to the fog world. So you hear the siren, and then it's always raining in the fog world, and then everything's just pulled together really nicely. Homecoming got a lot of shit because it had Pyramid Head in it, and people are like, no, that's a James thing from Silent Hill 2, you can't have that. But it built up all this crazy lore. First off, yeah, Pyramid Head was James's manifestations, but there's posters and paintings of Pyramid Head all over the town of Silent Hill. So it would make sense, kind of, for it to go back to it as a way to frighten somebody and to become a boogeyman, like it did for, God, I can't remember his name in Silent Hill. Alex Shepard in Homecoming. So to me, it makes sense. But anyways, so Silent Hill 3 took a lot of for that. But if you look at the boss design and the monster design, it's some of the best in the entire series. The Scarlet boss has some of the best music in the entire series. The voice acting, once again, pretty good. Controls are a little sluggish, but like it's a really fun game. But little things, that one little thing, because it had a pyramid head, people couldn't give it a chance.
Well, I mean, that to me sounds just, again, I get it, but that sounds silly because, fear can be manifested in anything. You see someone has a fear, and they share that fear by writing it down, or they draw a picture of it. Someone else sees it, they have a nightmare of it, it's now their fear. They now have, you could say, it's become their fear.
That was the whole point of Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, that's
what do they
how
call
it could
that?
have infected. It's like Inception, fear Inception or something.
There's a term for that. This is going to drive me nuts. A tulpa. Like this shared manifestation of something that like people start believing in, and like you kind of make it real in a way. Yeah. And that's what Silent Hill is all about. So maybe young Alex sees that painting of Pyramid Head, scares the shit out of him. Later, when he's going through actual stuff with Silent Hill, he manifests the thing that scared him as a kid.
Right. I mean, it happens with my kid all the time. She sees something on TV that at some point was a representation of something that scared some other person, some other creative person that put it in a TV show that she watched. She goes to bed and has a nightmare about it and tells me. It's like, see it all the time. It makes sense. So
thank you.
It's not unreasonable.
I knew I was in the right place. I knew it.
Well, that's the whole point. But Silent Hill's like, they've never explained what this place is. It's just
every game explains
it of a shadow.
Like, is it a cult? Is it a demon? Is it a god? What the hell is it? Like, every game explains the lore behind the monsters and like the powers controlling it completely differently. And that's what I like. It's always super open to interpretation. And that's why they were able to create so many different nightmares for so many different people in so many different ways.
Yeah.
Because there's no one right or wrong answer.
State of mind.
Yeah. I just read Nosferatu by Joe Hill, and it nice. Sounds a lot like the Inscapes and the Dreamscapes type thing. Like, they were all different people with their own thoughts, but they were somehow still all connected through this dreamscape thing that they could all access in their imagination. You know what I mean?
That's exactly it.
Like they could infect each other through their dreamscapes and torment each other through their mind, get into each other's mind through their dreamscape, in essence. And that sounds a lot like this.
I loved that book, by the way, but
yeah.
That's Silent Hill 2. You meet different characters. You meet Angela, you meet Eddie, and they're in their own version. So the things that you see and the things that they see because of their own traumas and their own crimes and their own things that they've done, totally different. And you meet the little girl. Oh my God, I can't remember her name. I'm the worst fan in the world right now. I can't remember the name of the little girl in Silent Hill. Laura. Her name's Laura. So you meet Laura, and she doesn't see any of the monsters because she's a kid. She's innocent. She's pure. Like, she has no idea what's going on. But given her history, Angela sees them a different way. And there's a scene with her towards the end where she's going up a staircase and everything is on fire. She's going up a burning staircase. And then James says something to her, and she just turns and looks at him, and she says, "For me, it's always like this." Like, so, like, her nightmare finally crossed over into him, and he could see her world type of thing.
Yeah. She doesn't see the monsters, she sees or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, the monsters look different to her, and the monsters look different to Eddie, and the monsters don't even appear to the little girl, because why would she see monsters? She's a kid.
Well, and that's almost like what the whole original idea behind the creature of It is from Stephen King's It. It's supposed to, the idea is that it shows a manifestation of your greatest fear, approximation to it. You know, you see like a clown because you saw a clown from something that scared you a long time ago or whatever. But other people saw it too because there's a lot of that. I get it.
Yeah. And Silent Hill was able to just tie these stories together and do them in different ways. And that really resonated with the fan base. That really got people talking about it and loving it and spending hours researching it. And the Twitter account, Sorrento Hero, she's like the biggest Silent Hill fan ever. She learned a bit of Japanese just so she could read more Silent Hill stuff. Like, that's how it infects people in a way. And it's like, you just want to know more. You want to people loved it. Like, it was part of them. Like, it was just, I've never seen anything like that with a fan base to a horror game before. And it opened me into horror too, because the second I got done playing Silent Hill 2 for the first time when it came out, I went out and rented Jacob's Ladder, and then I started watching more and more and more horror. Because before that, my exposure to horror was Evil Dead when I was a kid.
Right.
My dad finally caved and let me watch it, but I got more into it, and then that spread my love of horror, and it just got me into writing, and it got me into trying to develop characters and do dialogue, and that's all because of Silent Hill.
Well, we have a little surprise for you. Can you see what just popped in the chat? As soon as it loads, I have a little game for you. Which, after talking to you and some of the stuff you said, you're probably going to get a 24 out of 24.
Oh, jeez.
Okay. Silent Hill quiz. What do I have to name them or say what game they're from?
Both. You get a point for saying what their name is, and you get a point for saying what game they're from. If you can do 12's a passing fan score, 24 is obviously a super fan score. You can take them in any order you want. People at home, if you go to our Instagram, you can play along.
Okay. Pyramid Head 2. I never remember what that one's called, but that's from 2. 3 is from 2. That's the daddy monster. 4 is the nurse from 2. 5 is the mannequin from 2. 6 is Valtiel from 3. 7 is, I want to say that's from 4.
Yeah.
I can't remember that one's name. 8.
Okay.
I can't remember that one's name. 9. That one's from Homecoming. That's one of the bosses. 10. That is also from Homecoming, I want to say. 11. That one is from Homecoming, and 12. That's God, what's her name from PT? Lisa? Was it Lisa?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, Lisa from PT.
Let me add that up because, geez, you just blitzed through that. Oh. Yes, that is Pyramid Head or Red Pyramid, however, most fans,
Yeah.
From Silent Hill 2. So that's 2 points.
The second one, that's the straight jacket thing. I can never remember what its actual name is, but that's from Silent Hill 2 as well.
Yeah, you get a point for that. It's called the Lying Figure.
The Lying Figure. 3 is Daddy Monster, right?
I'll give you the point for that. Abstract Daddy.
Abstract Daddy from Silent Hill 2.
Yeah. So
that's what Angela sees, because she has, you see the image, you get why, that, her father.
Yeah.
That's some dark shit. 4 is the nurse from Silent Hill 3.
Yeah.
This looks like the 3 version of the nurse.
Yeah, but which game is she originally from?
2.
Okay, good. I'll give you the point.
Yeah, the super sexy nurse. That's James's
3,
thing.
4, 5, 6, 7.
So
7
5
points
is
so far.
the mannequin monster from Silent Hill 2.
8, 9, yes. And you
6
got
is Valtiel from Silent Hill 3.
10, 11. You got 11 points.
I don't remember what the name of that one is, but that one's from 3, I want to say.
Yeah, that was the one I could. It's from Silent Hill 4.
4, that's right, 4.
And it's Gumhead.
Gumhead, okay.
We're still at 11, but you're already. I mean, geez. 8.
That one looks like it's from Downpour. I think that's one of the convicts.
See, I have Grey Child from Silent Hill, but I can double check.
Oh, that doesn't look like the Grey Child, I guess. See, I think it's a scale thing right now because it looks as big as everything else, and it's a drawing.
It could be. I will
wrong.
verify. But 9.
Homecoming.
See, that was that's the twin victim or double head from Silent Hill 4: The Room. I remember that thing because that thing scared the shit out of me.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Remember that round room? And then that thing just comes around the
Yeah, and it points at you, and you just it doesn't really do much else. It just points at you.
Scared the bejesus out of me. You said 10. You said what game did you say?
10. I said Homecoming.
Okay, that's a point.
I couldn't remember what it was called. 11 is from 3. 11 is the first boss in 3, I think. The big penis arms.
No, that's Homecoming. That's Siam.
That's Homecoming. Okay, yes, I am. And then 12 is Lisa.
Yeah, at least for PT. So you take a total score of 14.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. Especially as fast as you did it. It was like, geez.
Well, I tried to do it without thinking.
Well, very impressive, sir. You were definitely a fan.
Thank you.
Above fan.
Yes. But to touch on Silent Hill one more brief time, like, if it wasn't for Silent Hill, there would be no horror writers. And that's basically it. Like, Silent Hill inspired me to push further down the horror hill and get into it and get into the writing. And if it wasn't for that, then the website wouldn't be here, so I wouldn't be here talking to you guys right now.
Yeah.
Wow. There you go.
That's why I will defend all of the games with my dying breath.
Very good. Awesome. Well, we appreciate you joining us.
Absolutely.
And
thank you, Sean.
Again, thank you for all the positivity you carry out through the community and in Horror Writers. Be sure to check that out, guys. We'll have the links below. And also carry out this conversation in our Discord channel, or join us on Patreon as well for all the extras that we've probably cut out of this episode and more. And until next time, I've been Dustin.
I've been Bo.
I'm Sean.
Have a good one.
Later, guys.